September 18th. 9/18.
The day of remembrance.
Day of remembrance. Day of the worst thing to happen in the month of September.
Okay.
How you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. Welcome to, I'm not going to say the full name of this podcast because it's super long and I don't remember it right now.
APWSTR's Nostalgia Critics, Pink Floyd's The Wall,
the album,
the review,
the podcast, the show. Yeah. Well, it's a very long name. You can shorten it to APWSTR, TNC, PF, TW, TA, TP, TS. Theoretically, the show.
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what makes people remember is the exclamation point.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Sarah? New podcast type? New... Okay.
I am going.
Yeah, you're going? So, okay. Let me... Listen.
I love podcasting.
Yeah.
I fucking love podcasting. One thing to know about me, baby. Ooh, baby, do I love podcasting. It's a little hard to get over the hurdle to get in the room.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting here, there's a microphone, I got coffees, there's a camera in front of me, baby. I'm all ready to rip roaring to go.
Yeah.
That's not what I dislike.
What do you dislike? What could it
be? Could it be the absolute dog shit that we watched that I now have to watch every year and talk about every year?
Okay, so I wanted to bring this up because apparently you forgot that it was supposed to be a yearly podcast.
I did forget.
You forgot. I
don't know, I just thought you were doing a fun thing.
No, so okay.
No, it's not fun.
It's just fun for me. But it's been way more fun for me so far, but I will in a year forget that we've done this and be like, fuck.
I'm going to be the one that's like, oh, are we doing that thing this year? And then you're like, oh, yeah. And then I'm going to be like, fuck.
You know, I'm always going to remember it, too, because now that it's on fucking Megaphone as like an actual podcast, it'll always be there. And it'll say, last episode, September 18th. And it's like, that's coming up, isn't it? God. Okay, so original gimmick. What this was supposed to be. It's been 4 years
since we did our episode.
Well, okay.
Since The Wall came out, and since we did our episode,
and yeah, like 3 years ago, we did a fucking whole thing on it on our regular podcast, a podcast that's relationship.
Yeah.
I'm Josh, by the way.
I'm Sarah.
We're just jumping into this.
Yeah.
More important matters than ourselves.
Yeah.
This is a podcast that is about learning, about appreciation of art. And appreciation of critique. So, okay, 4 years ago, Nostalgia Critic came out The Wall. We made an episode on it on the regular podcast. It did pretty well. I haven't thought about The Wall in a while.
Yeah.
At some point this year, I was reminded of it.
Okay.
And I realized that not only was it going to be 4 years since that video came out, and there's still little, like, worms in my brain about it. It's fucking... I didn't realize it released in September. Same month as another tragedy.
Yeah. My dad dying.
Yeah, that's a tragedy.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, September sucks. Why don't we make a whole podcast about The Wall by Nostalgia Critic?
Yeah, you said, let's look at Sarah's birthday month, right? I know she's already... 2 tragedies already. September 1st, Sarah's dad died. September 11th. Haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
Let's add another one.
Well, because see, you only had 2, and I believe in the rule of 3s.
Right.
Yeah, so now we're here.
Yeah.
And we now are forced, not really forced, we're here on our own volition, but
yeah,
we're here to talk about the worst piece of media ever created.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that it's the worst piece of media? Okay.
You know what? And I wasn't sure before I watched it.
Okay.
I was like, maybe I'm dunking on this a little too hard. And I think that's what's going to happen every year is you're going to
forget
Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, hang out with your family, have a nice time, love life,
Yeah.
spring, new beginnings, a new year.
Summer happens.
Everyone's having fun, blah blah blah.
And then fall.
You know, it's kind of beautiful. Like things start dying.
Yeah.
And I go, oh God. You know, the first breeze comes through, and I go, oh fuck.
And you just hear
the wall. And maybe I've had such a good time all year that I'm like, maybe it's not gonna be that bad, right? That'd be so bad.
Well, okay, can I ask you this? Because we watched it. I watched the video. You listened to the album
the first
3 years
time.
ago. The first time we did something about the wall.
Yeah.
What did you remember before you watched this?
I remembered his shitty. It was mostly auditory because I listened to the album.
Yeah.
But I remembered his before watching it. I remembered him being like like his weird, like he's doing the weird, like overly lilting, like
yeah, which makes
no sense to do. Because I guess he's trying to say that Pink Floyd does that,
but not really.
But
remembering the album and how the film goes, like it's very much just a regular voice.
It's
but
regular
with high
guy,
pitch.
Yeah, doing high pitch.
It's not like
shit.
he's gasping or gulping for air.
It's like you know what it is, and it's really something that bothers me deeply to my soul. People that view like 80s music as like one thing. And not like multiple things together, you know?
Yeah, because it definitely does kind of feel like a blending of a lot of genres.
And I'm not saying that Pink Floyd is 80s music. I'm saying like
this technically came out in 1979.
Like the confusion of rock music equals hair metal.
Yeah, I was literally thinking that too. Or like even like kind of hints of like new wave synth in the way of like, because I feel like it's more of a
misunderstanding,
like a Devo impression than it is a Pink Floyd.
Right? Yeah, because they're thinking like, okay, like one time when I was in high school, I was talking about how I loved Journey at the time because I was really going through I mean, I guess Journey. I don't know. Journey's like classic rock.
I guess now, yeah.
Now it is. Probably wasn't back, but you know, whatever. Yeah. It was like, you know, I was really into Journey at the time. And I was telling my friend, he was like, I didn't know you listened to metal. Because he listened to Separate Ways, Worlds Apart.
Oh.
And he thought it was metal.
Yeah. No. No.
But I have more evidence to back up that person's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Things, season 4.
That is true, yeah.
The metalhead guy plays Separate Ways, Worlds Apart by Journey.
But also, yeah, that's really weird because then it also blends like, yeah, because
that's not how I think of Journey.
Yeah, I think Journey's more prog. I put Journey more in with like a Pink Floyd.
I think it's just whatever, you know, what it is.
Yeah,
you know, that's personally like with bands like that where they're so famous and so fucking amazing.
Yeah,
they're just doing their shit.
They do whatever they want, and then I think every subculture is gonna kind of pick and and that's true. Yeah, I forgot about the Stranger Things like having that a very like prominent song. I'm trying to think.
And I'm not saying something is what it is or what it isn't. I'm not a music reviewer. I have a very limited knowledge, you know, I think of what I know. But I just don't, being a fan of Journey, I'm like, Sun in the Sky is metal?
Yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily...
You know, Touching, Loving, Squeezing is metal.
Open Arms, yeah.
Open Arms? That motherfucker was sappy as shit, you know?
There was some,
I don't...
Oh, fucking Don't Stop Believing. Literally their most famous song.
Their most famous is not metal at all.
Not metal at all,
just because they went like a little harder on the guitar in one song.
In a good song.
A fucking fantastic song.
We're not here to shit on Journey. We're here to shit on Doug Walker.
Yeah. like doesn't mean that they're metal, right?
Yeah, and that's okay. I think that's one of the weird things. You're right about that too, because okay, so a little bit of background for the Doug Walker's The Wall. He didn't make the music per se. He wrote the lyrics probably and sang them. Yeah,
I think so.
I assume.
Yeah.
But he outsourced the instrumentals to, I believe, Rob Scallon is his name.
Yeah.
And he, if
Who's
I'm
the Super Guitar Bros guy?
No, he's part of the guitar YouTube community and like music community, I guess. But I think he's more, I want to say he's more metal.
Yeah.
Than like,
which, and I think I talked about it on the stream, but metal guitarists are very technical and they can be very expressive as well, but a lot of like expressive guitarists sort of skirt technique or make their own technique to be as expressive as they are, where metal guitarists, it's more about like precision and, two different proficiencies, right? And Pink Floyd they're not good at guitar. Like, that's kind of the thing. It's like, they're good at songwriting, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree.
There's not like metal breakdowns in Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing is that and that's the other thing too, where it's very prog, because it's prog. It's, very, it's kind of, I'm tempted to say math based. It feels like, it's more like,
well, even like if you talk about like math rock bands, they're also usually very technical because you have to be on a specific time.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how to describe it. Like rock bands of a bygone era. This is so in my wheelhouse too.
Yeah. You think I'm gonna hit an hour? I think we'll hit an hour.
I think so too. Like rock bands of a bygone era. If you are someone who is like, I'm learning guitar, right? And you are obsessing over rock bands.
Yeah.
And, like Brian May. You want to learn a Brian May thing. Very difficult, but also extremely easy to listen to.
Yeah.
And something that's very simple, but also is very hard to get exactly right. And when you go back and you watch the guy playing, he's not doing it perfect,
Yeah.
He's doing it well. And he's doing it the way that he's doing it. And that's what makes it good. That he did it, that Brian May did it.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because if it was anyone else, it wouldn't sound the same. And that's very similar for Pink Floyd. And there have been many actual cover bands who go up and try to be try to get that sound.
But in reality, there's something off.
Specifically by not being good.
Because I can think of like, especially like in The Wall specifically, I'm trying to remember specific guitar solos. I think the main one that comes up is probably In the Flesh, probably Another Brick in the Wall, the second one.
Yeah.
Right at the end. And I can't think of like, there's something about like cover people where it's very much, I assume this is the point you're making.
Yeah.
Where it feels very much by the numbers. It doesn't feel like you're trying to imitate and copy every single like.
Well, but I also want to mention that this is abnormal. Like the fucking. There used to be these Pink Floyd bands, and I mean like literally like 10 years ago, that would get publicly, like everyone would dunk on them because they were so terrible, because it was just a guy trying to have fun with his buddies, and him and all his friends loved Pink Floyd.
So they did Pink Floyd songs.
So he gets up on a stage and screams into a microphone, and then people are like, this is not Pink Floyd. And they would get dunked on for being not good enough. So the idea of like, like how do you take the idea that guy was trying to say, which is like Pink Floyd weren't as good at their instruments as what people, Pink Floyd, they're not like masters of their instruments, so anyone can go and be a band or whatever.
Yeah.
You take that idea, which existed enough in the zeitgeist for at least a couple people to think of it.
Yeah.
And then fucking you take another person that's like, no, actually you have to be amazing at guitar to be Pink Floyd. You have to be perfect to look like you don't know what you're doing on guitar.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, actually, there is a middle ground, and it's called being Pink Floyd. If you're not them,
where you have to be at the right place, right time, with the very specific set of like.
Yes.
Yeah. I totally understand what you mean by that. Yeah.
I'm good enough and I'm Roger Waters.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking...
My name is Roger, last name Waters. And I'm going to sing.
And I'm gonna fucking sing.
And it connected.
And I'm gonna write, yeah, because also I think that's another thing about the original wall that's so, and it still fits so fucking well today.
It does, yeah.
And it's very, because it's a very personal story from his perspective of like,
which is also crazy to cover. Then,
yeah,
it's like the original Sugar Hill Gang. With that guy that stole that rap from that other guy and stole his height.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very weird.
6'1" and I'm tons of fun, and he wasn't even.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't know how to rap, and they put him on the track.
Ridiculous. But you're so right about the idea of like covering, especially like the first, and this is a song in the film, not necessarily the album, when the tigers broke free, which is covered in the Nostalgia Critics wall. Where it's very like the last line is when they took my daddy from me, and in the film it's like him wearing his dad's like what's
jacket.
It called, war jacket and uniform, and they show him getting fucking shot down in the plane.
Jesus Christ!
And I think this is the first scene of the review now too. It's almost, it's not shot for shot because the shots are worse.
He's putting on a leather jacket to pretend to be cool.
His dad, who is or himself.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, because I said this during the stream that we did.
Yeah.
I'm getting angry. So fucking there's a I said this and I still believe this. I think Doug Walker is just a leech. I think, especially in this context.
I don't even think he's a human being anymore. I think if we did this for anything else, I would be like, that's kind of mean. But he's not a person. He's a shell. He's a shell. He's a YouTube shell. YouTube took this guy who had created this thick shell around him, and YouTube sucked out all the innards, and now he's just a hollow shell
of irony and
ebony. No, joking. No, just a fucking asshole. He's just a piece of shit who doesn't make doesn't have any credible opinions, doesn't have anything to back up his shit.
Yeah, and it's really weird because
it's crazy.
Yeah, because I remember being into Nostalgia Critic maybe when I was 13, 14. And that was also years before this happened, because it was he had a niche and he should have stuck with it. Yeah. It was old movies, nostalgia, you know, 80s, 90s shitty movies. Yeah. Make fun of them. Yeah. Because the bar of that to do a shitty movie review is almost the same as the bar of talking about Doug Walker's The Wall. It's on the floor. It's very easy. It's very easy to hop over.
It's the easiest content you could make.
But if you're gonna try making a shot-for-shot remake of No Country for Old Men, which is a joke I've been saying, and I really believe is gonna happen at some point.
And I think it's because No Country for Old Men is a little funny.
It's a little wacky. It's not
wacky, but it's like
it's not wacky.
It's like so serious and so gripping that it could at any point go over. And of course, it's the Coen brothers, and they have a twisted sense of humor. So
and also a style.
There's a little bit, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean also a style, which I think is also. I think I go to that when I'm talking about doing The Wall. Because it's very specifically
very stylized.
It's a very stylized, very conceptual.
That's stylized is a really charitable way to describe Doug Walker's The Wall.
No, I mean the original Wall. I'm talking about the original.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
surrealist,
surrealist, you know. And I mean, No Country for Old Men's definitely a lot more literal.
No, it is. Yeah.
But it's still telling this very deep. I guess deep is kind of a shallow word for it, but it's
like a straight man, you know. You can write a sketch where someone is so much of a straight man that the wacky guy is funny. Yeah, you know,
exactly.
And I mean, instead of a guy being so wacky and then one guy being like, "What's up with this guy?" You know, instead of it's just a guy I guess an SNL sketch of everyone's in an office and some guy in a clown suit comes in and is like, why is there a clown in an office? And then everyone else is like, I'm trying to do work. You know, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
It's a balance, and No Country for Old Men is more serious, less wacky.
Yeah.
And this is...
Yeah. And then Doug Walker's The Wall. Okay.
I was thinking about it today. LOLXD random humor.
Really? For Nostalgia Critic?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. 100%.
I hadn't seen that in so long.
I think that's another thing that kind of is baffling about The Wall. The Doug Walker's The Wall. I have to start specifying because I'm getting confusing real quick.
Because, like, yeah, you don't expect that shit anymore. I don't seek that humor out anymore because I'm not 13.
Yeah. And also, it's even more fascinating because I think another thing that's kind of baffling is the stagnation of Nostalgia Critic. Because I've watched almost every video I could about The Wall when it came out.
Yeah.
Like, I mentioned it before during the stream. It was like Fantano did a, the Needle Drop did
Folding
a video.
Ideas did
Folding
a video
Ideas,
like a year later
like
about it.
A year later, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking, like, I think Ralph the Movie Maker didn't talk about The Wall specifically, but he
talked about Doug Walker.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring up Ralph the Movie Maker because he brought up like a game show and like a movie that Doug Walker did like years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be real with you. There's fundamentally, other than like they changed cameras like to a higher quality camera. No difference almost.
Well,
in like,
and that's a big problem. Like I watched Lady Emily's video about Channel Awesome.
Yeah.
And everything. And it was very interesting to see that like Doug had done this thing, got really, had a lot of people that really loved the thing that he was doing.
Yeah.
And he just never appreciated it enough that he wanted to make something more serious. And then when he finally did it, it was not good. Like deeply thinking, like, and it really shows like the kind of person Doug is.
Yeah.
And that he thinks he's better than what he is, which is still appreciated. But he thinks, no. I'm being a stupid fuck. I can do better. And then he fails at that.
Yeah.
And people are responding accordingly.
And that's another thing too, is like with that specifically, he killed off the Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah.
With one of the movies as well to do that serious thing.
Yeah.
And had to revive it at the end because
it failed.
It failed so badly. But then I think, it really does feel like a catch-22 because he didn't want to do this anymore. He wanted to do something different. Audiences didn't give a shit he did something different. They wanted that. He had to go back and do that again. But also, it happens during a time, too, that's very turbulent in YouTube.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about this, too, because this is why this review is the way it is this was during the time of, like, cracking down on fair use and, like, this is, like, 2015-ish.
Yeah, so he has to parody the movies that he's reviewing to not have...
Yeah, he has to recreate...
do a clip.
Yeah. Which is also really funny because the amount of clips I see on YouTube of people still doing it. Because you can appeal any like copyright claim that happens.
I think we're getting in the weeds though. I feel like at this point it's more of because of that, it's more of a stylistic decision.
I just want to give that as extra context.
Yeah.
Because if you watch it, you could be like, this is a fucking review.
Right. It does, and he asks, he's like, wait a minute, this is a review? Halfway through.
And they had what's his name, Corey Taylor?
Yeah, from Slipknot.
Yeah, and that because
and Corey Taylor's son.
Yeah, that's I didn't I brought it up slightly earlier because they do the When the Tigers Broke Free.
Yeah,
but I don't know what the parody title is. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Who gives a shit? But like it's they're recreating it shot for shot. And at the end of the review, it's Corey Taylor saying it's a review. You should tell how it is.
And he says I like to find a little pretentious.
And this is after like 30 minutes of nonsense.
Of absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
And I think, and the funny thing, so, okay, we can dissect that then. Fine. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Okay. So,
yeah.
Okay. So Doug Walker got his start doing clips of movies, talking about him. YouTube's like, nah, champ, you can't do that shit anymore. You gotta do, you can't show clips of your movies. He's like, well, fine, I'll get a fucking green screen and I'll pay a bunch of people off of Craigslist to get in front of my green screen, and we'll, I'll put something on a piece of paper and they'll be like, Like, I'm Brad Pitt in the Face Off. I don't know. Fucking, he's not even in Face Off.
Yeah, but like,
Fight Club is what I was thinking.
No, I get you. Yeah. Okay. But like, and that's, I feel like that leads to, I mean, it leads to the style, of course, but then I feel like it leads to, since you're now having to make a low budget, very shitty, like, remix of movies, it feels like you're slowly changing from critique to just pure irony, pure attempt of satirical.
Okay.
Like,
well, I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at is like, so now you are making the movie that you are reviewing.
Yes.
A review is based off of how, you know, the technical aspects of the movie.
Yeah.
Visually what you see, how your opinion of the storytelling.
Yes.
And the visuals and the music and everything combined into one.
Yeah.
The feeling that you have while you watch a movie.
Yes. Which.
So now Doug Walker is forced to, in his reviews, make a review that communicates a feeling that is the exact same feeling that he had while he's watching the movie to review.
Yes. And that's also, I'm going to use the word baffling a lot because everything about this is baffling.
Because I think that's the core problem with this review is how could someone watch The Wall or listen to The Wall and have this dog shit opinion?
Yeah, that is true because
how could anyone think of these thoughts?
Yeah, and how could you feel this way? Because if you're trying to convey how you felt during the watching, and this is how you're going to portray how it felt to watch in this parody-esque of, because in the beginning and during that, like right after the, you know, the whatever, also weird jokes about like how The Wall isn't worth anything and it's, you get it in a bargain bin or whatever. We'll get whatever.
Well, no, that's not whatever. That's very explicitly like this movie used to be really cool and now it's dog shit.
Well, it's
because no one fucking watches
not
it.
Even that it was really cool. It was really cool to teens at the time of like Gen X,
right,
like
to children at the time.
Children at the time. But now you get the idea that you get older, and you rewatch The Wall, and you're like, this is like,
actually,
stupid.
This is really stupid and boring, and no,
baffling. Also,
that's fucking crazy.
Like I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
I don't get that feeling because I watched it. I can still relate 20 things, probably.
Yeah.
In The Wall, in the album alone. I can understand that and relate to shit going on in the world right now as we speak.
Yes.
And it's not the hardest connections you could make.
No, yeah.
The most famous song on this fucking album about education can still very easily, before we even get to that, because that's a whole other thing, but like that song is alone is very relatable. But
it's you know, okay, so I don't think teachers are bad. I don't
think teachers are bad either.
I think in general teachers are underpaid and everything.
Yes.
And I don't think Roger Waters was saying that teachers are bad.
No, I think because what he was saying about, okay, I feel like what he was saying.
That's a fucking normal thing to think is that, hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. It's not actually about the human teacher in the room.
Yeah.
It's actually a fucking, whoa.
Come with me metaphor?
Metaphor here for fucking the system, right?
Yes.
Like The Wall is a metaphor for
personal
self-preservation and lack of intimacy and toxic masculinity.
Whoa. And
the whole point of it is that
you're telling me Roger Waters didn't plaster every brick.
It's so old. This shit is so old. It's so like we're talking about it already. We've done it. It's already talked about. I don't need to fucking, you don't know this yet. You're like a 40-year-old man. You haven't felt any of these things? Like, that's the crazy part is this man, he worked so hard on this, and not one time did he think, dang, maybe I am a shell of a human being, and I'm actually, yeah,
that's the crazy thing.
He is a perfect candidate.
And I know I talk about how everyone involved, I think, is more talented than Doug. They still allowed this to happen well.
They did.
With the Rob Scallon thing specifically, I think Rob Scallon's a good musician, but he gets a cameo where he makes fun of the teachers, where it's like, oh, you don't learn anything actually useful in school, like how to do your taxes and change a car battery or some bullshit. Which the Folding Ideas video made a much better point than I could ever make about
and honestly, watch that video.
Yeah, I watched that video as well. But like, basically, there's two schools of thoughts about education. One is it prepares you just for work. That's it. Yeah, and that's kind of what this argument is. Yeah, is you're only going to be good for Amazon. You're only going to be good for Walmart employment.
I mean, that is what this argument is. It's also what The Wall was saying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where it's instead of you don't learn about civics, you're not learning about like arts or and like life. You know, like things that are also important. And on a humanistic fundamental level. Yeah. Which that's The Wall's making that point because it's talking about lack of individuality, lack of or like
when you talk about the overall themes of the review, it is like, this movie is boring and stupid and I hate it, but I love it still because of my nostalgia. And fucking when it does that shit, it's like, okay, so you do agree. You know, that's what's so frustrating. It's like if I were in a fucking debate with Doug Walker, which wouldn't happen. Because A, he doesn't know who I am, and B, I don't think I would be able to contain myself. But if I was in a debate with Doug Walker and he would be like, yeah, it's just I think it's boring. I would be like, but why?
Why do you think it's boring?
Why do you think it's boring?
And that's
you can't explain why. That's not a review. If you fucking turned that shit in, if you were in the 5th grade. And they said
immediate F.
Write me an essay, and your whole essay was I liked it because I liked it. You'd get an F, you'd be sent to detention, you'd have your mom called, and they would be like, your son's a fucking idiot. You gotta take him out of school.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, because at the last line, I think he says I liked it fine. It's a little full of itself, but good visuals.
How is it full of itself? He doesn't explain it.
Well, okay.
I guess but I mean, listen, he doesn't explain it in a coherent way.
Yeah, and this is really, we have to dissect every like thing that happens, because I know there's one point, and I forgot about this until we watched the review. He on the TV, he's shirtless but with still his glasses and hat and tie, I think. And there's a scene in the Wall film where the Pink Floyd, which is the character Pink, is falling but through water, and Doug Walker interprets it in because he has his arm out while he's falling, and says, "I'm Jesus."
I do remember him saying, "I'm Jesus."
Yeah, doesn't this remind you of Jesus? Oh, look at me! Like it's like a self-aggrandizing way, but I don't think that's what originally it was about, and it's a very weird like.
I think it's just a completely not nuanced interpretation.
Yeah,
which is the thing is when you are. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. Listen, I think all media is fine to consume, genuinely. But I also grew up with a family that is particularly classist. And there are some media that is just better than others. If you grow up and all you read is Danielle Steele, you try to read fucking Kafka and you're going to be like, this guy is fucking a freak. Because you don't know. And that's it. You have to go into it with a fucking interpretation of like, Maybe I don't know. That's what you have to say to yourself.
100%.
Maybe I'm not understanding what this guy wrote down.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's a very mature way of looking at it is maybe I'm not understanding what's going on. I'm going to step back and maybe think about it for a second.
An amount of maturity.
Yes.
And the self-understanding enough of the basic, literally the only way, if you want to be like intelligent, if you're like not even just like, I think I'm intelligent, like other people see you as a smart person.
Yeah.
The only thing that you have to acknowledge is that you don't know everything.
Yes.
That's it.
That's literally it. And that's
it. Doug thinks he knows fucking everything.
And so hard right into fucking hard turn into I know everything and I'm better than this guy. He should wash my balls.
And listen, I don't know everything.
I don't know everything either. But
I know more than Doug Walker.
I think my bullshit meter is relatively better than Doug Walker's.
Not everything I say is going to be correct.
No, of course not.
And I'm not saying that it's all truth. It's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm like getting tired of my sentences halfway through, and I don't know how to finish them. Fucking yeah, no. This guy, he says a guy. Okay, yeah. Let's dissect that symbolism. Pink is falling through water. What do you think about first thing?
Well, okay, if I'm being genuinely honest, I'm trying to remember as much as I can. I feel like I interpret it as, and this is only because of my personal, like, he's obviously drowning.
Yes.
I feel as though it could be you could interpret it as maybe an alcoholics or like a dependency.
Interesting, yeah.
And also being washed out, because I think that happens either right before or right after the overdose scene.
Oh, okay.
I want to say that's what happens. I might be misinterpreting that. That's how I interpret it. I don't think Jesus.
No. I think, call me crazy. I don't think every time someone outreaches their arms that they are literally saying that they are Jesus Christ.
When the Fun Spot guy does this, Doug Walker goes,
It's huge. Doug Walker's like, that guy thinks he's Jesus.
That guy thinks he's fucking Jesus, dude.
Yeah, okay. First thing I think of is drowning. Water is usually represents some sort of change, a threshold crossing, something like that. Usually rain sometimes is seen as like being reborn and being washed clean. Yeah.
Or even fundamentally rain sad. Like even like if you wanted to go like even lower.
Yeah. Water.
We're still above the bar.
Bad. Bad things happen.
Bad things happen, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe good things will happen later if you're not,
it's turmoil, like in the sense that like a river is like, it bends, it flows, but it can get dangerous, rough,
Water, it brings life, but also it can take hurt life, you. Yeah. And I think that's the regular, that's why these things are so ubiquitous. It's like everyone sees them and they go, it's what I feel. Yeah. I get it. And that's why it's used very often symbolically,
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I don't think Jesus. Is he thinking like walking on water or something? Like that's such a weird take.
But I feel like that's such a stretch. In my head, it's such a stretch.
Because you could say any movie where there's one guy as the protagonist is Jesus.
Which, I mean, listen, I think there are genuine critiques you could make about other media.
Yeah.
Where it's a guy, it's especially in like Western film and media, where it's one guy has to save everyone else, or it's one guy versus everyone else.
Yeah.
You could, it's either you can make an argument.
It could be Jesus.
Like, like Christ-like, almost,
Anything though.
Yeah.
American Psycho. Jesus.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's all about him.
And also because when he goes to reach for the axe, it's and also when you're extending the arms a little bit. It's
Lord
like
of the Rings. Jesus.
Yeah.
12 disciples.
That's so weird. I really don't get it. I really don't understand.
It's not a take. It's not some. It's you are saying something that is like, okay, yeah, this guy is being highlighted in this film, right? But you're saying 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah,
that's not an observation.
That's a fundamental, like, I get what you mean.
That's something you say your junior year of high school when your teacher says, okay, guys, we are going to have a debate on this piece of media, and everyone has to say something for points. And that's what you say. But when you get into college and you start writing and you write that in your essay, what a college professor is supposed to do is sit you down and beat you with words and say, no, this actually isn't thinking, actually. Actually, what you're doing is cheating. You're actually not thinking at all or working. Actually, you could work harder and actually think harder. Believe it or not.
That's what again was crazy about this review is that this is his fucking job.
Yeah,
this is his job
gets paid to do this.
Paid by Honey.
He doesn't have to go and do something else.
By PayPal owned Honey.
That's the most egregious part of this. Is there are people out there working full-time fucking jobs and going to school full-time and getting tongue lashings from their teachers saying you're not thinking hard enough, and they go home and they put on YouTube nostalgia critics of the fucking wall, and they see this and they go, but why is this acceptable?
Why am I doing anything? Yeah, when I could do nothing and apparently get millions of clicks.
And the answer is it's fucking not acceptable. Your professor is right. It's not acceptable. There's no room in a review that is paid for.
With a CPM rate.
Make your silly little YouTube videos. Make your bread tube. Whatever. Who cares? When it's your job to be a reviewer.
Yes.
That is different, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's different. It is very different.
If Fantano heard an album tomorrow and said, I don't know, I don't like the notes, it would be pandemonium.
No one would be happy. Like a 1 minute review of like the next Weekend album. People,
or if he just like pretended to be The Weeknd for 40 minutes and then he said, I love honey, go donate to this random charity. I'm not gonna do it. And then people are like, no, wait, what did you think about the album? And he goes, I thought it was weird.
Why didn't you just say that the first?
Why didn't you try? I watch this? This was a clickbait. This was clickbait the video.
Clickbait the video, yeah. You didn't like The Wall. You wanted to make fun of it, but your job is as a reviewer, so you had to technically put in at the end a review. We've only discussed, and I don't think I'm being
literally like three parts, tiny moments.
3 like 10-second parts in this 40-minute long review.
I didn't realize how much, like, okay, so I guess when I listened to the album,
yeah,
I was like, this is mean. It's mean.
Yeah.
Like so like if you're asking me shit that I remember from the album.
Yeah.
It was the and it was also the Goodbye Blue Sky, So Long Oscar bait song.
Yes.
I remember that because I was like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Yeah.
It's such an explicit, stupid fucking thing.
Like attempt at a diss. To say that a song is pandering.
Yeah.
A song about World War II.
That was written before the movie was ever made.
Yeah.
Was pandering to get an Oscar, which I don't even think it got.
It couldn't. It couldn't get
I don't think it could, yeah.
I think the only song that would have been eligible for an Oscar was the opening song, When the Tigers Broke Free.
Oh.
Because that's the only thing that's not in the album.
Yeah, it's just an absolute incomprehensible take.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even call that Oscar bait. That song is there on purpose because the album is okay. So if we're talking about like a genuine thing, the album, something I like about the album is that it starts and ends the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It ends with like a quartet, like what's it called? The trumpet. I can't think of what it's called right now. Like a small classical band, and it ends on it. And if you play it from the beginning, it continues going, basically.
Okay.
So it's a loop. It keeps looping, yeah. And in the movie, you can't do that, of course. So then they wrote When the Tigers Broke Free to make a more conceptual and concise, like, opener story. You know what I mean? Which works a lot better to me, especially in the movie.
Yeah.
So even if you wanted to say that any of the songs were Oscar bait...
Yeah.
Just any. Not even the song that he decided to for some fucking reason. If he decided to do it for the first one, that would be even somehow a worse take, I feel as though.
When I think of, okay, I'm going to watch this piece of media and I want to understand the meaning behind it. Where do you start?
Okay, so like how early are we gonna start? Okay,
anything. So you're watching a movie and it's very symbolic and you don't fully understand what it's talking about. You kind of get vibes, but you're trying to figure out what explicitly it's trying to say.
Yeah. Where do I start with
Where do you start? What's the first thing you think about?
Okay, well, I would think who made this, I feel like. Who's making this? Why are they, I'll try to figure out why they're making it, what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
very specifically, I might, God forbid, do research.
That's literally what I was going to say.
Yeah, I might, you know, and that's the, okay, with the Oscar bait line, that's another weird thing, because I'm assuming that Doug Walker did just enough research to know about the album itself, which, if you're doing any sort of research in year of our Lord 2019,
yeah,
what's the first website we go to? Google. Second website, Wikipedia.
Yes.
And it's not that far down
difficult to
see
get there.
Hold on, 1979 is an earlier year
than the movie 1982 I'm fucking reviewing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you start off with, how was this made? Who made it? You know, what were they what was their personal life at the time? About? What was the political climate? What decade was it? Where were they located? What historically were they impacted by? Like, what could possibly? And then when you realize that fucking so long Oscar bait song actually is a serious song written about his dead dad.
Yeah. Dying in World War II, which I really can't stress enough. You can't listen to this.
A little harder to call it Oscar bait, I think. Just a little.
A little bit. And it gets a lot. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
For a guy talking with the name Nostalgia in his name and is thinking about the Nostalgia Critic.
Nostalgia Critic. Not a Nostalgia Critic.
The Nostalgia Critic.
The guy.
The Nostalgia Critic. Trademark, copyright, registered trademark. When he started reviewing movies, could maybe, I don't even remember. I want to try and give him credit for earlier years before he became the husk that he is now.
Yeah.
I assume.
I don't know. I never watched him, but I know people really enjoyed him. There has to be a reason.
Yeah. There has to be a reason. I assume he would take nostalgia into account. And I think a part of nostalgia is remembering the time period and what was going on at the time.
Yeah, you would think that's a part of it.
I don't think The Wall is about Trump.
That's such a good point of view, actually. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Or that we're comparing the Holocaust to high school.
Yeah,
that's not what we're doing.
That's not what we're doing here.
That's not. No one would do that.
Let me give an example, because I feel like it's not that difficult to think about the time period. It's been 3 years since the start of COVID. You and I were talking about this recently, and how it's weird to feel nostalgic for an earlier COVID, despite the fact that thousands of people were dying every day.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and these are very different things. I just want to say for the record, the Holocaust is not different. COVID. I'm well aware, you know, and being nostalgic for the 80s and 2019 is different than being nostalgic for 2020 and 2023.
Yeah.
But when we talked about COVID, the first thing we did was remember how we were feeling at the time, what was going on at the time, and how we were dealing with it, and the differences between now and then.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this hard.
Yeah, it's not. It's something that everyone does. If you see anyone, literally, you're doing it subconsciously. When you see an old ad for something that you used to see all the time,
seeing an ad
as a kid,
okay,
you go back to, you know, I'm wearing pajamas and eating cereal on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Watching cartoons, and I'm seeing this ad for the fucking blow pens, you know?
Yeah, exactly. God, this is frustrating. Okay, so
everyone does it. And I think that's, you know, why the Nostalgia Critic has mass appeal, but it's so crazy to fumble that hard.
Yes.
It's especially so crazy.
Fumbling. And it's so weird because it seems like Doug wanted to, at some point, made the transition from doing older movies to modern movies. Because I know he did like Mad Max Fury Road at some point. I don't think he got as much shit for the Mad Max Fury Road videos.
I don't think anyone would actually give a shit.
I don't think anyone gave a shit. I don't know. It's really weird. It's fascinating that The Wall was the one that got so much backlash. I mean, it's shitty. Don't get me wrong. The Doug Walker's The Wall review is the shittiest thing I've ever fucking watched.
Well, yeah, it's visually appalling.
It's visually appalling, audibly annoying. But I can't tell. Like,
I think the reason is The Wall actually is good, but in an esoteric way, which is one of the hardest things to execute completely well.
Yeah,
and it does that, and. I mean, there's a lot of love for The Wall. I had no idea about it until fucking, I saw it on Reddit and people were like, oh, look at this clip from The Wall. And everyone's like, thousands and thousands of karma. Everyone's like, oh, fuck yeah. I love that movie. It's a well-loved movie.
Yeah.
It's well executed.
And
and if you miss the mark a little bit
when talking about it,
it comes off as cringy. But he missed the mark by like 5 million feet.
Where people that like probably never even heard of The Wall, went to go watch The Wall, understood it more.
Yes,
and was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Because I think that's kind of like I think you can make some genuine critiques about The Wall. I can't think of any right off the top of my head because I'm just Doug pilled right now.
Yeah,
but like I feel like. This isn't because it's not a fucking critique, which I think is like the main point of your review is that you're supposed to have a critique about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I want to talk about a thing about The Wall. The reason why The Wall was made, apparently, like Roger Waters and Pink Floyd went on like a tour like 2 years prior, like for the past 2 years. And it was the worst tour ever. Like fans were setting off firecrackers. It was more like a social event than an actual like concert.
Oh wow!
Apparently, one of the guys in Pink Floyd, which I'm not going to condone this, but I can understand why this happened. Like spat on a fan that was being rude.
Yeah,
and like they wouldn't do
rock and roll.
Yeah, they wouldn't do encores and shit.
Yeah,
and so then they write The Wall because it's a very a shitty tour. And you mix in all these other like shitty things that happened to you and your kid, you're probably traumatized from that. And you're going through all these, shitty emotions.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about like, why is everyone, why
is everyone like this?
Yeah. As an artist, you think that all the time. It's because,
I think that every day. Yeah. Like,
well, and this, I don't think we call podcasts art, but like we make things for other people and they consume it. We now have a relationship with the general public. So to think about all the time, I think about literally every second of every day, what the fuck is going on with everyone?
Yeah.
I want to know what people think about things.
Yes.
And it's just a normal thing to think. If your experience with your audience is that they fucking suck.
Why does everyone suck?
Yeah.
Is the question.
Having an internal dialogue with yourself as to what part of you attracted these people, what part of you is something that you maybe seeing an audience as an extension of yourself and being like, maybe I see myself in my audience and maybe I don't necessarily like that.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to change as a person to attract the people that want to appreciate me.
Slightly introspective. Just ever so slightly introspective.
And then Doug Walker took a big fat doo-doo shit on that.
And I want to make a point about that specifically because in Doug Walker's The Wall, in the visuals, because this doesn't really happen. I think this happens during Goodbye Blue Sky, the parody of it. It's when there's like these. I really don't want to say childlike, but like the drawings where it's okay. Do you remember? There's the sequence during that song specifically, where it's raining and it's pity and my problems, other people problems, the lightning bolt. But then there's also like the bird and it's called Ego. And like there's a guy. I
blacked that out. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a guy walking away and forward. And it's like self something. Like I don't remember what self content maybe. I don't remember what was written on it because it was written like super like skinny. And even on our TV, I couldn't really fucking see what it was.
Yeah.
But so that. During
like a political cartoon or something.
A political cartoon, yeah. But to do that about specifically a retrospective song and a retrospective album of what is my music saying to people and what has happened to me and what in my life could I look back on to see what's going on. but then saying it's just my problem.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking wild thing. And I don't blame you for blocking it out because it doesn't make sense.
It looks like dog shit. It's expressing a dog shit take. It's just nothing. It's just nothing at all. I mean, and
it's impact font-esque, like it's really bad. It's really bad. I don't know what this. I really research
it.
Just
research it.
You don't have to be fucking H bomber guy.
You
literally don't have to.
You don't
you
actually.
just have to Google little bit longer.
That's the craziest thing to me is like you don't actually have to be a fucking genius. You don't have to go to the library and look at all the microfiche. You don't have to do that. You don't actually. It's in your pocket.
You actually have to go to the Library of Congress to rewatch the original film print of the wall.
You don't have to go to a librarian and be like, can I get all the articles
relating to Roger Waters?
And she's like, yeah, you just go over there and look in the W section. No, that's not like fucking how it works. You don't have to do that shit. It's not hard anymore.
Not at all, no.
It's not nerdy to know things anymore because you all can do it at the same time.
Yeah. Fuck. I'm trying to think. Fuck, there's so much bad shit. It's really hard to compartmentalize.
I think also specifically to me because I'm someone who really likes rock music and really like got into a niche of I really enjoy sort of anti-establishment ideals and also the sort of creative ideals of rock stars. I thought it was really interesting. I love rock operas, like personally.
Yeah. Copra. Policical.
No, but like that, like I love Styx, Mr. Roboto.
Oh yeah. You showed me that.
Kilroy musical. That also was a critical failure.
Yes.
Terrible. Like nobody fucking showed up. And it was just awful, and the entire thing is amazing. And the best thing about Styx is you can totally tell what each song who was written by, and it's either the synth keyboard guy or it's the guitarist who then eventually, after the musical broke up and the guy on the synth keyboard went his own way and sang his own songs and was famous for doing Mr. Roboto and other areas. And that shit was cringe. I will say that shit is cringe.
No, I get you, yeah.
I loved it. I love that fucking musical.
Yeah.
But also, it's cringe. That's fine. I don't think The Wall is cringe. I think it is genuinely a piece of art. And I think a lot of people have the capacity in them, even if they don't have necessarily like the training or even critical thought to be able to sit down and like dissect every single piece of media, because honestly it's exhausting. Not everyone fucking does that when they watch a fucking movie. They sit down with some popcorn and they watch it, but they do come away feeling a feeling.
Yeah.
Because when you create art, you're expressing feelings.
Yeah.
And there are just innate things, like people going to the Barbie movie and leaving crying, not knowing why they were crying. Something changed you because whoever made that fucking movie, whoever put their ass into it, wanted you to.
Yeah. And like, and especially with like, and I guess I want to make this point because we're recording this also during a time of like a bunch of strikes going on, like the writers, fucking actors, people below the line, every single person coming together, to make this like piece of art, of like, it's important. It's fucking like it is. Art is important. Art is one of the few things that can break through like fascist ideology. Yeah. That can break through political barriers and shit like that. It can. Yes. It has the ability to. It does not do it all the time, but it has the ability to. And the lay person to think that they are so stupid that they can watch The Wall and not understand what it's about
and make a video thinking, yeah, this thing fucking sucks.
Well,
is crazy town.
Speaking on fascism, real quick, because I think this is an important thing to talk about with the wall.
Oh yeah, the phones.
Phone bad. That's what the original wall was about, was phone bad.
Yeah.
No, so in the original wall by Pink Floyd, and in the film, there's a very dark sequence.
Yes.
Of fascism, basically using fascist ideology in a way of because again, this is post World War II. With the what's it called? It's the hammers, crossed hammers.
Yeah.
And it's basically it's I don't know how to describe it, because it's very hard to describe in a way that's it's very to me it's obviously anti-fascist. Apparently some people took the wrong message from it,
like anti-communist.
Yeah,
I can see people that have maybe a misunderstanding. People that critique communism as just making everybody the same and losing all their income.
Could come out of the wall if you have really predisposed, but also stupid opinions like that.
Well, I mean, that's the American idea of communism.
Yeah,
and things got miscommunicated over the waters, I think. But fucking
the Roger Waters.
I'm
sorry. It was there. I just went under the bar. I'm sorry, everybody.
No, it's okay. But living actually in a country overseas and actually having to deal with and having family members who fought in a war against
and also
fascism.
And dealt with every consequence, because fucking America. We went Pearl Harbor. Yeah, we had, there were consequences.
There were. My dad was in Vietnam. His dad was in World War II.
Yeah. I guess I'm talking about the scale of destruction and rebuilding post World War II.
Imagine having to be neighbors to Germany.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make.
That's the difference. It's and that's sort of the feeling. It's having themes of you're trying to be pushed into a space where you can just be a little worker.
Yeah.
People might view that as, well, communism means you're all the same, so you don't have any individuality.
Yeah, and it's really annoying, because especially when Nazi Germany took stuff from American South, like Jim Crow shit like that, and based a lot of their ideas and how they did things off of that. And then post Germany, despite the fact that we all decided to be anti-fascist, quote unquote, Americans still took fucking Nazi Germans because we had to beat the Soviets now,
right?
And after that, Britain still to this day is having problems with and Germany's still having problems with far right groups, even though they technically made it illegal to publicly talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there are some instances. I don't think they're ever going to fully go away.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think I honestly don't know, but I think the funny thing is America has more of a connection with far right Nazi groups right now.
Yeah.
Than other countries do.
Yes.
And I mean, maybe not. Maybe that's an America-centric view, but whatever.
But okay, let's talk about a more American-centric view. Watching The Wall in 2019 and thinking phone bad and tweet bad is what
that's so crazy.
Is what the sequence of showing literal hanged men and lynchings, and minority groups getting persecuted. Not it's written in the fucking song. I'm sorry. Okay, I need to talk about the okay. So in Doug Walker's review of The Wall, the sequence goes, he dresses, he shaved his head, whatever, and he becomes Pink Floyd in during his Nazi arc, right? And he's talking. I want to kill myself. I'm sorry. So okay, this is what he does. What fucking Doug Walker, super genius, does is with the hashtag made out of hammers behind him, and the far right, he's not even thinking about politics here. He's just thinking phone bad. That's it. In a song that literally asks are there any queers again in the audience? Up against the wall. Using the C slur against black people, put them up against the wall. And using that as an excuse to make fun of people that make fun of him on Twitter. In 2019, I can't peak Donald Trump 2 years before an insurrection, an attempted coup, a year before COVID, the protests of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Can you have a modicum of fucking respect? Like, I don't know. I feel like
yeah, could you get your fucking head out of your own ass?
Like, come on.
Like, Jesus. And also on his face of the guy you hate.
Guy you hate, put your face here. Is the dumbest thing. Like, is the most anti-intellectual.
It's as if the only thing that he knows how to critique media as is, what is the main guy doing?
Yeah.
I don't care about what's happening around or what he's saying. What is his image? You know? And that is such a myopic view of critique. Because that's why you have a world. I don't know. Like, if you wrote a book, you would have to describe things, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, you would actually have to do that.
You can't fucking... the
way that people interact with you is also indicative of whatever message that you're saying. That's why it's actually hard to make art. Because it all has to be cohesive.
Yeah, no art is created in a vacuum.
No, yeah. So, that's crazy. I'm sorry. It's just so wild to say that, like, well, Pink, his character, he's saying that when he goes up on stage, he doesn't want to be a guy who goes up on stage and alienates his own audience.
Yeah.
Because he's doing things, he's acting out things that was taught to him from his childhood that makes him a broken man.
Yes. And causes him to do bad, shitty things.
Yeah.
And this is what we call an exaggeration. Is an exaggeration of that point to make the point that it does. If you start doing even there,
but also a political point of how does Hitler get made? He's not made in a vacuum.
Yeah, he's a symptom of, and that goes into like the education system very obviously. Like,
really, like, I mean, to me, these connections are like literal baby steps. Like, I don't know. That's the thing. I'm not seeing a guy dressed up as Hitler and going, oh, it's anyone that I want to hate. I'm saying, no, that's very specifically Hitler. He's very specifically trying to do this very specific imagery. And there's a reason for it. And it's not necessarily the literal man himself, Adolf Hitler. It's what he stands for, because now in death, Hitler is a symbol. It's like when people are like, oh, anyone that you disagree with is Hitler or a Nazi or whatever. And it's like, no, that's a very specific thing. Usually when people are like, yeah, okay, Hitler, they're talking about fascists.
Yes.
They're talking about fascism. And,
amazingly, surprisingly.
That phrase, oh, everyone I disagree with is a Nazi, has now turned into everyone I disagree with is a fascist, because people got more accurate with their language. But yes, actually, there are very specific things that people do that are fascist, and there are very specific things that people do that make them Nazis, like wear Nazi paraphernalia and walk down my street.
Yeah, in Orlando, goddamn Florida.
See Kylie and goose stepping with body armor on and fucking
firearms. Yeah,
firearms. And I had to text my friends, don't go outside today.
God, yeah, it's gonna not be. It's not safe anymore. Sorry, stay inside.
Sorry, stay inside. There are Nazis out today.
Yeah.
It's like it's actually kind of beautiful. It's like an amalgamation of everything that I hate online, of people missing the point of literally anything. Like, even I can't go on Twitter anymore. Someone will be like, it's the famous, like, oh man, I love apples. And someone's like, oh, you hate peaches? Like, yeah, they didn't say that. But not even that. It's someone could be agreeing with you and they completely miss the fucking point of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I mean, Twitter was created to have disagreements, but that's what makes it so stupid to bring up in a movie about fascism. It's a playground for stupid people.
To fully just...
to misunderstand each other. It's not... Like, how can you sit there? How could you fucking sit there and write these lyrics and say, oh, well, we're really comparing Holocaust to high school? And then turn around and see, like, no, I'm actually going to compare the Holocaust to Twitter. How can you sit there and do that and not fuck yourself in the ass?
Whoosh over the head, yeah. Christ. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Having considered that this is such a love letter to the wall that...
Oh yeah, I want to read some reviews. I think now it's time.
You thought we were not going to hit an hour.
I think we're doing 2.
I think we might do fucking 2. I really can't. You know what? I want to say for the record, we watched this yesterday, and it's so like, what's the word for it? Jam packed with bad things.
Yeah,
that I can't remember all of them, which is very interesting because we're gonna have to come back in a year, and I wonder what things I'm gonna point out and be more like.
Oh, that was what I was gonna say. I was listening to the album and I was like, this shit is mean. What he's saying about the album is mean. And I was like, damn, that's pretty fucked up what he's saying. And like, you know, there's a lot of shit where I'm like, you know, whatever. And I went about my fucking merry way thinking like, damn, that was a little mean. That's it.
But then the video is a lot more.
It's disgusting. It's like,
I will say, like, I think no one would have given a shit. People would have still called it bad, obviously. But I don't think it would have gotten nearly as much of a negative response if it weren't for the video. I think the video very specifically, because of how low quality it is, because of how... Because it misses the mark again, and also all the visuals all the metaphorical visuals that it's trying to make don't relate that much to the original wall.
Yeah,
is so egregious. Because especially this is also in 2019. I don't know if the change to the channel stuff was starting around this time, or if it had happened or was about to happen. Like when it was getting revealed of like the abuse that was going on behind the scenes
of Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah. With Channel Awesome specifically, because holy shit, it's absolutely like it's.
Can I read some reviews?
You can, yeah. I'm sorry. I can just say it's just tone deaf. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. Okay, this is a year ago. 5 stars. Wow. What can I say about this album? Such clear dedication and direction was shown by Doug Walker in this album, so much more than the original.
This has to be bait. This has to be fucking bait, dude.
My favorite song so far has to be In the Floyd. Again? As hearing Doug Walker complain about Twitter, I think, is a far better message than the original, which discussed fascism or something? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, to be frank. Anyways, please listen to this album. You will not regret it whatsoever. I dare to say it is the best form of media ever created on this world, this universe. Hell, it's the best thing ever.
Wow.
40 people found this helpful.
Thumbs up. That's, you know, I think that's another crazy thing about this like project that we're doing is that people are still thinking about this fucking review
a year ago. Yeah.
4 years in. Like,
that's how bad it is. That it's not.
We go back to it. Like, you just think about it randomly throughout the year. It's like, fuck, remember that?
Yeah. Like, the only spectacular thing about it is it's bad.
Yeah.
And exactly how bad it is, because I've never seen anything worse, which is an accomplishment of itself, but not all press is good press, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guy that
Who
made
made
something
the worst
so bad that everybody
fucking thing
thinks about it
imaginable, yeah.
every day, you know? Okay, Jesse Taylor, 5 stars. My grandpa was an avid Pink Floyd fan. He always wanted me to listen to the albums, even offering to lend me his vinyl records. Recently, he was knocked out after falling while fixing the roof and put into a coma. Shortly after, I found your review while I was in the hospital with him. As I played it, he miraculously recovered to come pause the video and slap me. Thank you, Doug Walker.
Thanks, Doug. You know,
Saving
at least
lives.
some good came from this.
Yeah.
Damn, woke a guy up.
35 people found this helpful.
A lot of people getting help today.
Yeah. 1 star. This album makes me want to travel back in time and abuse LSD with Syd Barrett so I can forget that this man-child put so much time and effort into parroting / outright disrespecting a heartfelt story regarding the mental deterioration of a beloved and beautiful artist. Absolute embarrassment of an album, though enough to make me honestly hope that Doug ends up suffering a mind-shattering accident like Syd so that he can finally stop his endless stream of self-serving mediocrity.
Oh my god.
If I could give negative stars, I would. 20 people found this helpful.
Wow. Damn. If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter like that guy. Holy shit.
5 stars.
Yeah, all right.
5 star. Nostalgia Critic, very good and very funny songs.
Fuck, is that an earnest one? That might be an earnest one.
3 years ago. 3 people.
That might be an earnest one.
5 stars. Peak fiction. I love Nostalgia Critic, and I can say that I failed no Nostalgia Critic November because of this album. Peak fiction.
Peak fiction.
Best album all time. 1 star. Much rather listen to Photograph by Nickelback on repeat for 10 days than listen to the entirety of this album. I will defend Nickelback until the end of my life.
You know, it's really
it's better.
It's better. You know, yeah. You know what sucks about media that is made that's worse than other media? It gives you a newfound appreciation for media you originally hated or didn't like that much.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
It could be worse, technically.
It could be worse, yeah.
5 stars. My dad has bald.
I don't appreciate this bald hatred in there. Okay.
My dad has bald.
My dad has bald.
That's it. Those are all the reviews.
On Google? Nice.
Yep.
Maybe next year there'll be new ones.
Maybe there'll be more.
Bro, what if...
Go in, put in the comments, I'm here for next year's
Get in the comments.
APWSTR's thing. Yeah.
Dude, what? Okay, hear me out. We don't have not 0 people listening to us.
Right.
What if this causes a resurgence
of the wall?
Of the wall. Like, what if we make just a little splash?
I honestly, I would actually feel really, I would feel really bad. I would feel like I made a bunch of people drink poison. Like, that's what it's like.
We're the new cult leaders of podcasting.
We do have a responsibility. Like,
people have been commenting on this bad boy forever. You know what's funnier too? Nostalgia Critics The Wall is the 3rd video that comes up when you look up Nostalgia Critics The Wall.
Because there are 2 other videos.
The first one is the needle drop for me.
Yeah.
And then the second one's folding ideas. And then also Brad Tasting Music did it 4 months ago.
Awesome.
Dude, we're watching that. Fuck yeah. Thanks, honey. Do you think we're ever going to get a Haunts us?
Not believe that Honey paid for that shit.
Oh, shit. Can we talk about the ad? Actually, wait. Can we talk about the ad real quick? Because that's become a meme.
Yeah.
Just real quick.
I mean, it's very simple. He's pointing and
he's soy jacking.
Yeah, he's soy jacking his own thing.
His own fucking...
It's kind of funny.
It's the best part of the review, I guess.
It's pretty funny, yeah.
We didn't...
This motherfucker stop fucking singing, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the CGI, but that's next
whatever,
year. That's next year.
Care.
Fuck it. All right, you guys want to know our thoughts on the CGI?
CGI was whatever. I don't know. It's like good enough that I'm like, okay, the character designs are weird and furry-ish.
Yeah,
but what I don't mind it. You know, it's just fine. It at least has more artistic direction than the rest of the fucking thing.
Yeah,
like you can't show me dog shit and then show me 3 steps above dog shit and expect me to shit on the dog shit that has 3 steps above.
Yeah, okay, yeah. There are bigger fish in this review to take care of. Yeah, that's more than fair. God, I can't remember everything. It's really... This is my favorite comment, and it was posted 4 months ago. We saw this one yesterday. This is as much of a love letter to Pink Floyd as a bullet was to John Lennon.
It is a beautiful comment.
That's such a... What a good...
It's good.
You know what the wall is good for? Doug Walker's The Wall is good for? The writing prompts. That is...
Yeah.
How do you... respond to this in less than 150 characters.
This is what I said on the stream. I was like, listen, if you're a creative person and you feel self-conscious about your work and you're like, man,
watch Doug Walker's The Wall.
Because you're never going to make anything as bad as that.
You're probably never going to make anything.
You have to try to make something as bad. Try,
yeah.
You really would.
Yeah.
And, you know, my favorite quote about making art is you become an artist because you have good taste. And you have good taste, you find the things that inspire you, and you start working on your thing. Don't, you know, criticize yourself too early by thinking like, oh, this looks like shit, this sounds like shit, whatever. You're doing it because you have good taste. You just don't have the technical skill yet.
Yeah.
Right?
This man's been going on for years.
And this is what he thought was like his magnum opus.
Yeah, this is what all his effort, but not effort, went towards for like maybe a weekend.
Yeah.
Jesus. God. Who else is here? Because
sorry. He paid other people money.
He paid other people fucking money.
He had a budget.
There was a budget. Also, the CGI had to have taken a while, like just for like rendering time and shit, and like making the models and animating and putting the nostalgia critic in there.
Just because it's not my cup of tea doesn't mean it's not difficult to do.
Yeah. Yes. It's not that difficult at all.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is that one lady that sang needs to take a voice class. Doug Walker, I don't even think needs to take a voice class because they'd get thrown out.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Just wasted money.
Just wasted money. But some of the other people, the British people, were singing well.
Yeah.
They sang okay.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really... Fuck, I actually forgot a lot about the singing other than Doug Walker.
Yeah, there's also the technical parts of the singing, which is like... It's an entire... A vocal coach could go through this, and you have content.
Dude, like
for
a fucking
year.
Wired vocal coach reacts to Doug Walker's The Wall. Why haven't they done that yet?
That's a viral video right there.
That's millions of hits.
That's millions of dollars.
Most videos about The Wall, like from other YouTubers, have more views than the original Wall review, which is the funniest shit.
It is the funniest shit.
Dude, getting ratioed on YouTube?
That's crazy.
That's fucking crazy. Okay, all right. Let's a few comments. I'm gonna try and do ones that are more recent because if we come back in a year,
we'll do some comments and we'll wrap it up because we
have another fucking show we got to do later. God, 9 months ago, it's pretty ironic how Doug Walker is so quick to call the movie pretentious while also making a quote review that actually is pretentious.
Yeah, it's definite projecting.
Imagine being nostalgia critic for over a third of your life.
That's the funniest one to me.
What a roast.
Ooh.
A third doing math to see how long you've done the same character.
That's crazy town.
God, absolutely like crazy. I've literally never seen someone miss the point of something so much as this. It'd be hysterical if it weren't so infuriating.
Yeah.
God. This is from your... Roger Waters composes a deep and profound personal reflection on growing up without a father and the abusive and oppressive nature of the UK's archaic school system. Doug. He's whining about school sucks. Yeah.
I know. I don't know where else to leave it, but
I don't
there,
know.
You know?
I feel like that's it. Yeah. Oh, you know what? 3 years ago, and I think this is maybe one of the best comments ever written. There is a chance that everything I'm making is crap, and I'm just not seeing it. Doug Walker, 2009. Wow. 10 years before this came out.
He was so egotistical, he thought there was only a chance.
Only a chance.
And that it wasn't 100%.
gonna happen.
Gonna happen.
How are you feeling after watching and now remembering, in remembrance of Doug Walker's The Wall?
I got 364 days to live my fucking life, baby.
Until next year.
Until next year.
And you have to remember again. Cut to a plane crashing like into your brain.
This will be a good measure of like how cynical, like, you know, like my fight, you know?
Yeah.
Like how much I want to live. Because if it gets to a point where I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Who cares? It's
over.
Fine. There's so much other shit to worry about. I'm done, baby.
Yeah.
Flip me over. I'm done. Stick a
Where's
fork in me.
that passion you once had?
It's gone. You know, my passion. The fire's gone out.
God. I wonder, and I think this is another thing. You know, maybe at some point, something worse will come out.
You keep saying this,
and maybe it will. Maybe it.
Nothing worse has come out in the past 4 years.
I genuinely don't. I want something worse to come out. And
why?
That's the evil son of a bitch in me.
I want to throw my body into a volcano. Why?
Because it has to happen, right?
I want a flesh-eating bacteria.
I don't.
For what reason?
I don't know. I'm trying to think because there's no redeeming qualities about this at all, and I want to say that.
No,
I just don't. I wonder. Isn't it kind of magical?
No,
that we were alive to have the worst thing ever made in media review criticism take place.
No, I think it's fucking depressing. I think it's fucking depressing as shit. Why can't I be alive for the good shit, you know? Fuck.
Yeah, to be to
fuck this.
Fuck this.
Fuck this. Fuck this. A global pandemic took my early 20s away from me. I was born 4 years later, 9/11 happens. Makes everyone annoying as shit.
Causes a practical police state with everyone knowing every single little piece of data.
They hire a fucking reality TV show host that ruins the country. That was already ruined. Don't even get me wrong. It was set up for him to win.
Yeah.
I don't like it, actually. I actually don't like it, and I don't want it to happen. I would like it to have been better for me. Isn't it cool that we're living a life of shit? You would be the fucking serf.
Actually.
Covered in pig shit. Shoveling. Being like, isn't it cool that we're living in a time of history? No, it's not cool. I don't want to shovel pig shit anymore. I would like plumbing. I would like air conditioning. I like a big comfy couch to sit in. But no, I got a straw. I got straw to lay on, and I shovel pig shit for a monthly tithe. And I'm stressed out all the time because I can't feed my fucking kids that I keep having because birth control doesn't exist.
But history.
But we're in a time of history.
Isn't it magical? I'm sorry. But I signed us up for this. And listen, we got to deal with consequences, you know? Some actions, they have worse consequences than others.
This is going on Patreon. I can say violent shit.
This is going to the public. What are you talking about? Wait.
Oh, fuck, you're right. It's going to... Okay, never mind. Listen, I just think if you're like that, I hope Jack the Ripper cuts you from toe to tip.
And that's a good way to end the show. I think that's Sarrah, what do you want to plug? For the next year, what do you want to plug?
I don't want any of you fuckers to follow me. Actually, I think personally, just want better for yourself.
You know what? Want better for yourself too. I'm not gonna plug shit.
Yeah, fuck this.
You know what? Fuck it. Whatever.
Fuck this.
It's not a different RSS feed. Who gives a shit?
If you fucking got here, you know what's up.
You know what's happening. Yeah.
You figured it out. It's not a different RSS feed. Is that what you said?
It is an different RSS feed.
No,
yeah.
I know, but is that what you said?
No, it's a different RSS feed is what I said, yeah. I did not say it's a different RSS feed.
What does that mean? That we have to plug or we don't plug?
No, they'll figure it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.